I first heard of VSS and all the services they provide a number of years ago. It was exciting to see that your service was available. I had no idea what was really going on.
I launched Washington's Most Wanted in 2008, and it wasn't long before I started hearing about this great group of people in Everett, Victim Support Services, that was helping all these families out there navigate the court system, deal with their grief. Victim Support Services had been around for decades, but surprisingly there were still people in the community that hadn't heard of the great services they offer.
I work with the judicial system and the courts and the prosecutors and everything. I'd never seen anything like this. And once I found out how viable the organization was, I referred a number of people to get help.
Victim Support Services is a lifeline for victims throughout the state of Washington. Not only are they a resource for victims, for those hurt or harmed by crimes, but they're effectively responding to victims 24 hours a day through the Crime Victim Service Center hotline. Ever since I started 16 years ago, they've been nothing but help for me, for countless advocates across the state, and they can be counted on when you call to pick up that phone and get the help to people that need it.
And they report back to me, and the news is I had no idea how good these people could be for me and for my family and help me get through this crisis. As a cop, that means everything.
One of the major ways that VSS can support victims beyond what we can, they can be a lot more available than we are.
I'm Mayor Jennifer Gregerson from the City of Mukilteo. Victim Support Services has been our partner in recovery and healing and a key part of what makes Mukilteo strong.
We want crime victims and survivors to feel like their needs are being met because we want their needs to be met, but we're not often in a position to meet them.
Victim Support Services is there for people in their darkest hour. At a time when they need an advocate and a friend, VSS steps in to fill that gap and help them begin their long journey back to some sense of normalcy.
When we can have VSS there working with us, with those people, so that they are getting taken care of, they feel like the whole system and the whole community is more responsive to them.
VSS helps people by doing everything I can. I'm responsible for the follow-up on investigations. We put the cases on TV. We talk about all those things, but I don't have the resources to go out and work with the victims and their families, the grandkids oftentimes. I just don't have that time, but VSS takes the time, and more importantly, they really care.
I've seen VSS help people by being a shoulder to cry on, by being there for them, even if they just had a question that was very basic, like, do I have to go to court next week, or will you go to court with me?
They can actually really work with and bond with the survivors, or the victims, just the victims of the crime, if it's not a murder case, in ways that just because of the volume that we have to deal with, we can't do here.
They've been a trusted advocate for the victims who suffered so much in our community last summer. I'm so grateful to Victim Support Services as our partner in strength.
This thing about closure, there's never really closure in a victim's life, but VSS helps them to get closer to that. And that's critical, because the cops, the judicial system, we just move on. We have another case. But they live with that trauma forever. So being close to them, it's not just once, but as long as they need the services.
Our advocacy doesn't even cover property crimes like burglary. Well, have you ever had your house broken into? I have. I mean, it's incredibly personal and gut-wrenching how that feels. But yet our advocates we don't even have advocates that handle cases like that.
I have referred dozens of people to VSS, and not one time have they ever come back to me and said, why did you send me to those people? Every time I refer somebody to VSS, they say, thank you. They told me exactly what I needed. I'm so grateful for the work that they do.
Because we've worked together so closely for so long, it's pretty seamless.
You know, Crime Stoppers and VSS are like peanut butter and jelly as far as I'm concerned. It's an ideal situation. What we can't do, you do, and vice versa. So it's a partnership made in heaven, so to speak. And I'm proud that Crime Stoppers believes in VSS and will always be there for you.
Victim Support Services is there when the unthinkable happens, when an officer knocks on the door and gives you tragic news, and then helps you navigate the court system, which can be very confusing, the topsy-turvy emotions you'll have, everybody deals with it differently, and how to move forward once you actually get justice to make sure that your life stays on the right track.
It's not just murder cases and homicides that VSS is involved with, and that's what I think is not always that well explained or that well understood by the public and the folks who we ask to support VSS.
Victim Support Services is compassion, caring, and commitment. Commitment to making sure that once justice is done, that victim's family can move forward with their lives.
VSS!